Alright, so there's 3 frogs sitting on a log along the side of a river. 2 of them think about jumping in. How many are left on the side? Anybody?
3.
You guys are on the ball today. Exactly, 3, because thinking doesn't do anything until you take action. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is just taking action. So, you can think about it and wish and dream all you want, but that's not going to get you results or get you the weight loss that you're looking for. So, what I want you guys to do right now is close your eyes and picture yourself. Everybody's eyes are closed, so you can be honest when you raise your hand. Do you like what you see?
Are we picturing ourselves now, or
You're just picturing yourself.
as is?
Yep, just picture yourself.
Well, wait a second. I mean, what if you achieve some results and you are happy with where you look, but you want to improve?
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
So, now, keep that picture there. Now, picture yourself the way that you want to look. Hold that picture in your mind. That's what you have to focus on. If you're unhappy with where you're at right now, you guys can open your eyes back up. If you're unhappy with where you're at right now, don't focus on that. Focus on where you want to go and just hold that in your mind from there. And then be confident that you can achieve that. If you're not confident that you can get where you want to get to, or don't believe that, you're not going to. So you need to believe where you want to go, that you're going to be able to get there. So what we're going to talk tonight about is setting SMART goals and how to set those goals. There's 3 ways of working. You can work hard, smart, or you can work right. It's like if I want to go out to the parking lot, I can work really hard and keep running into that wall, and hopefully maybe it'll break down and I'll get in the parking lot. Or I can work smart and get a jackhammer and blow the wall out and then walk out, or I can work right and just go through the door. So that's what we need to do with our fat loss efforts. You can work hard every day, coming in, busting your butt, doing whatever, but if you're not changing the way you're eating, changing some of your habits, that's not going to work. There's also ways that you can work smart and make some progress, but it's still not always the easiest way. Sometimes there's easier ways to do things. That's where we want to work right. So what I want you to look at right now is the triangle at the top. So this is basically a hierarchy of fat loss. You've probably all seen this a few times by now. We're just going to keep pounding it into your head. But what it is it's a level of activities that are more effective in a certain order for fat loss. So the things that are at the top of the pyramid are the most important. Things that are at the bottom of the pyramid are the least important. Most people, when they start an exercise program, they start at the bottom with some type of walking or jogging, and then they're going to join a gym once they get into shape. They don't think about getting in shape and then, at the gym. So what we want to do is we want to focus on nutrition. It's probably about 80% of your results. If you don't change what you're eating, you're not really going to make any progress from there. So we need to clean that up, just eating better foods, making some better choices. So that's the most important one. The second one is resistance training, where we're doing some type of strength training with weights, and just getting our body stronger. That's going to stimulate our metabolism more. It's going to put on some lean muscle tissue to make us stronger. We want to get about 2 days, 3 days a week with some type of strength training. From there, we go down to metabolic training. And this is where it's still resistance training based, but what we're doing is we're focusing on intervals. So it may be 20 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest, 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest. This is basically set up what our group classes are. And we're looking for about 2 days there. So all in all, we're going for 4 days of exercise. 2 strength with resistance training, 2 with metabolic training. The activities below there, the high intensity endurance and the low intensity endurance, these are things that we don't really focus on here, but they're not necessarily things that are bad either. It's once you get those 4 days in, these are things that become effective afterwards. So high intensity things are like a spinning class. It could be taking a jog, depending if there's a lot of hills. If it's flat, you kind of fall into that low intensity. It could be taking a bike ride. Again, if there's hills and stuff, if it's flat, it's low intensity. team sports like racquetball, basketball, anything that's continuous movement like that, kind of comes into that high intensity endurance because it kind of bursts, but you're kind of moving the whole time. And then low intensity is your things like walking, jogging at a steady pace, stuff like that. So those are things that after you've done the others, they can be filled in there kind of for more activity. Sometimes people ask, what if I just do more at the top? Well, what will happen by doing more up there is everybody's a little bit different, but your body gets tired. It needs time to recover from things. So this allows, by focusing on more there, your body doesn't get that recovery that it needs and starts to break itself down. Things start to ache, things start to hurt, and if you don't listen, eventually it hurts itself, so you have to stop. In the simple explanation of that. So, what we're going to do is getting back to the SMART goals, and that's what's written on the bottom. We have specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. So specific goals are things like I want to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds. I want to have a 20% body fat, or I want to lose 10 pounds of fat. I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle. Something that is specific. Saying I want to lose weight, that's not, it's not clear enough. We stop eating today and lose a pound tomorrow, lost weight. Are you happy? It's not what most people are looking for. So we want it to be very specific where you're at. From there, we want it to be measurable. It has to be something that we can measure. Yeah.
Can I ask a question about the specific?
Mm-hmm.
You threw out the example like you want to lose 20% body fat. How, like since joining here, my muscle has gone up, body fat has dropped a little bit. So how do I calculate exactly what 20% of my body fat is?
That's something we can help you with
Okay.
when we're going through there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and all these goals, we can help you with that too.
And then at the same time, say whether it's realistic to lose 20%. Okay.
Yeah. So measurable has to be something that we can measure. Something like I want to feel better, that's great, but we can't really measure that. Like you may not be feeling good today, so you don't feel good, and then tomorrow you feel good, and you feel better. So it needs to be something that we can measure. And then attainable, it has to be something that we can actually achieve. Some people set goals that are just so lofty, or they want to lose, say it's 100 pounds in 2 months. It's not realistic or attainable in that amount of time. So we need to just make sure that it's attainable. And realistic's kind of similar to attainable, but realistic can also mean, your life may be very, very crazy right now. And it may be that, 4 days a week working out isn't realistic with what's going on. Maybe it's only 2 days. So that kind of plays into the whole equation when you're setting your goals. And there's going to be weeks where, most of the time you're able to get in 3-4 times. There's going to be other weeks where it's, life gets hectic and it's the best you can do is 1 time that week. That's okay. And then time sensitive, we just need to have a deadline when you're going to achieve this. Because what tends to happen is you want to lose 10 pounds and I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go. I'll start tomorrow, or I'll start, So this way, we have a deadline that we need to get there. So that's kind of the process with setting a goal. And then once you have that overall goal, you need to work backwards to kind of break it down. So say your goal is 6 months out. Break that down. In 3 months, you need to be halfway there to kind of measure that. So if it's 10 pounds, figure out what a sixth of that is in a month, and that's where you want to be. We're trying to shoot for ½ a pound to a pound a week in weight loss to be realistic. You can lose more than that, you can lose less than that. And that's one of these things. There's going to be weeks that you guys are going to do really well. There's going to be weeks that you guys are not going to do so well. The weeks that you don't do so well are really going to determine the overall outcome and how you handle that week. If you get totally bummed out because you just had a week where you didn't eat real well, didn't make the progress that you were hoping for, that's okay. But if you get bummed out, that's gonna, just focus on what's going right, and just fix it and go from there. It's kind of like an analogy. If you're driving down the road, you blow one of your tires out, you don't immediately get out of your car and run around and pop the other 4 tires. You fix the one tire, just keep going. So there's going to be times where things don't go the way that you plan, and then there's going to be times where things go better. So it's kind of that average over time. So the next sheet that you guys have there is the weekly accountability sheet, and at the top, what we have is the overall goal that's up there, and so this is what I want you guys to kind of figure out over the next day or so, is what is the overall goal that you want to achieve, and when do you want to achieve it? That's what the due date that says on there. And you'll see there's 4 of these worksheets on the sheets. This is a month's worth of them. Each week you're going to fill one of these out. When you get this sheet full, let us know, we'll get you another copy. But that top date needs to be staying consistent the whole time from top to bottom. It's okay if your goal changes down the road, but if it does change, we want to see, we want to know, what's changed here. Why did you change your mind on this? So then from there, what did you do this past week that moved you closer to your goal? Writing that out. And then what can you do next week that's going to get you closer to your goal? And it's just one thing. It may be, if you're not eating breakfast at all currently, to say, hey, I'm going to eat breakfast every day this next week isn't necessarily realistic. So what we're looking at is maybe we're going to set the goal to be one day next week. Can you eat breakfast one day? Pretty much everybody's like, yeah, I can do that. So whatever you set your goal for the upcoming week, you then need to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident am I that I can achieve this? If it's less than a 9, you need to make that goal simpler. The reason we want to make it so simple is because we want you to have success, to keep getting that positive reinforcement. If you keep setting goals that are lofty, what tends to happen is you don't always meet them, and then you just kind of, week after week, like, oh, I didn't get my goal. Then you kind of bum yourself out, and you're like, I'm forgetting this, I'm done. So if you keep getting that, hey, I made progress this week, I made progress the following week, I made progress the following week, it just kind of keeps motivating you to move forward. And then the last question is, did you do what you said you were going to do last week? And yes or no. If you didn't, we want to know why, what happened, and go from there. And the idea is, each week you're just one step closer, one step closer, one step closer. So, if you're starting today and you're not exercising at all, you're not eating right at all, we want just one thing next week that's going to move you a little bit closer. The following week, build on that. One more thing you can add to that. Just trying to keep the things that you've been incorporating in there, just getting closer and closer with that. So what we're going to do is, you'll fill these sheets out each week. We're going to help you with this, but I want you guys to kind of all go home and think about what your overall goal is, kind of break that down, and then bring these back in the next couple of days, and then we'll help you with any questions that you have that way. But I want to kind of let you guys think about it, kind of get that process going there. And then you guys will need to keep a nutrition journal just in a booklet, and then do the worksheet. We're going to measure every 2 weeks on you just to see where your progress is. But if we don't have sheets or nutrition journals, we're not doing measurements, because without this, I don't know what to tell you. So this allows us to see where we're at. And we already track how many times everybody comes in, so we know if you're working out or not. So we have that part.
So an overall goal might be, I want to lose a half a pound this week. Is that what they're weekly?
That's a weekly goal.
Right.
The overall goal is how many of those half pounds do you want to lose? So you may want to say you want to lose 10 pounds total, and you want to do that by January 1st or something
So
like
that
that.
goes in the overall goal.
That would be the overall goal, and that's going to stay the same each week. And like I said, if that changes, that's okay. You're allowed to change your goal. But if it changes, we see that. Tammy and I are going to want to know why'd you change this? What made you, you change that? Just to kind of see what your thought process is, what's going on there. So
Can you really lose a pound a week? I mean, is that hard, or is that?
it's an average. There's going to be weeks
That would be bad.
where you don't
I'll take a pound.
lose any, and there's going to be
Yeah.
weeks where you may lose a pound and a half, 2 pounds.
We have a little pound.
So the closer, I will say this, the closer you are to your ideal weight, the harder this gets, because your body tends to fight that.
Yeah.
When you have a lot of excess weight, it's a lot easier to drop it. That's why you see on TV they lose so much weight so fast. That's one of the things. There's a lot to lose. Also, they don't have to go to work or cook for themselves or do any of that stuff. You don't have to deal with the day-to-day life things. So,
They're an exercise, and this is
yes.
what you need.
Yes.
Can you put down more than one overall goal though?
Yes.
Okay.
Tim and I were kind of talking about that. If you've never set, if you've never set goals before, you might want to start with just one goal, and then maybe add a couple other ones from there.
Sort of go hand in rabbit.
That's
Like strength weight.
yeah, that's fine. And again, as long as it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and there's a deadline to it, you guys are good. So, any questions? We'll kind of just open it up.
So you're going to measure us on at some point next week?
Yeah, what we're going to do is we'll set up a time for you guys to come in and get measured. It'll be like 5 minutes. Basically, jump
What
on
all
the
do you
scale.
measure?
You can use a whole body
We're
scale.
going to get your body weight. We're going to get your body weight, body composition, so your percent body fat, and circumference.
It's up close and kind of personal.
Yeah.
And then it's something that just like every 2 weeks, just schedule 5 minutes real quick, and we'll get you done.
Just throw that every week.
So.
Can you bring any more?
So where's the goals of overall
That's
goals?
what I told her. I want that pressure. I didn't want
Some
to
examples
weigh
would
every
be,
week.
I'm going to lose 10 pounds in 2 months.
I
Or
don't even have a scale.
I
I'm
want
not
to
even
lose
sure how much.
20
I weigh.
pounds in 20 weeks. I want to be, I'm currently at 35% body fat. I want to be at 30% body fat by January 1st. Something like that, whatever, is realistic and stuff. So, say you want to lose 30 pounds. And basically for that goal, you want to work that down 30 weeks from that point to be in that realistic area.
So you're
If you get to the 30 weeks and you lost 26 pounds, you're in the ballpark of 30 pounds,
Okay.
And now keep in mind, with the strength training, you're going to gain some muscle with that. So there's, it's not, you don't always have to lose as much weight as you think you need to look the way that you want to. So
you can make your goal in inches rather than weight?
you can do it in inches too. You can say, I want my waist to be down 2 inches by whatever,
So you want to switch bodies?
as long as it's not next week. So,
And so we can set our goal after we have our vision.
You don't want this.
yeah, you can do it then. Kind of start brainstorming, kind of what, maybe what you're unhappy with, like things like that, like what you want to change. Start thinking that through, and then we can get that a little bit more specific after we do the measurements and stuff like that too.
And old people can do this as well as young people?
Mhm.
This really happens. It's just harder, right? After you're over 40, you're like, oh my God, nothing's
But you
working.
appreciate it more than your talents.
Yes.
Anybody else have questions? All right.
Just as, you promise this works for everybody, if we do
It
it.
should. Yep. You got to do it. That's the
You suggesting writing everything you eat down?
yeah.
Everything?
Everything.
Okay, and then there's a number of calories per day then?
Yeah, we're also going to give you guys a calorie equation here too to figure that out. So we're still working on what one we want to use. We'll have that here in the next day or
Well,
so.
how many calories is a woman supposed to have a day compared to a man?
It's all It just depends on the person. It's based on your weight, based on your activity level, age, height, weight, all of that. So
You can do it on,
Turn it in what we eat?
you can do it on My
Yep.
Fitness Pal. What's the other one you use? You can just
you
print
can
it
go.
off.
You guys can go to livestrong.com and create your own profile on there. Some of you already have profiles set up, but you can go in.
Set up, but.
Is that a good one to go to?
Yeah, they've got it. I mean, they've got everything covered pretty much. There's every type of food. There's fast food. There's just about everything that you can possibly eat is on there. And if you can't find the specific brand of it, there's like a generic one that works close enough. But it'll, yeah, it's free. There's also a free Livestrong app for your smartphone if it's easier to just put it in like on your iPhone or Droid. And there's a free one, and there's another one that's like $4.99 to download. You just go with the free one. Yeah. Anything to keep you accountable to just writing stuff down is what we're looking for. Because a lot of times, as soon as you start writing down, you're like, oh, I see the problem.
Well, if we do it on our phones, then how do we give it to you to check? Then do we still have to write it down for you to check, or are you checking it, or is it a?
We want to look at it,
Okay.
but if you do it through Livestrong, it's on the phone. It's also doing it online.
I did the Livestrong on the computer, but I can't now get it on my iPhone because it's saying I already have the other one. It won't
Okay.
let me download it, so that's why I started doing Fitness Pal, because I can't somehow.
Fitness Pal works too.
And you'll just look at that then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'll be one of those things like we'll kind of, as long as you're writing things down, you know, we'll see as your progress is going. It's when you hit roadblocks that we want to go back and look at, you know, where's this at?
Are you going to go each person and decide how many calories that
We'll
you want us
give
to
you
get?
guys the equation, and then
Okay.
what we can do is when we get
We're on all
measurements,
different
we're just going to put it
levels
into a
and-
spreadsheet, and it's just going to kick the number out for us, so we'll have the equation already in there, so we just have to enter your numbers.
You like Weight Watchers, huh?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
same idea. So. All right.
So how many cheats do we get?
You are.
Let's see.
You are allowed to
my
cheat.
goal.
We basically are looking for, it goes back to that 90% compliance
I know what she.
with that. Because you don't want to be, you know, it's unrealistic to think you're never going to have dessert, you're never going to have alcohol, you're never going to have any of those other good things.
See, you can have that cookie.
So we want to, you know, you want to have those things. It's just having them in moderation, staying within your calorie range, and stuff like that. So, you know, if you eat things that you shouldn't, and you know you have your calorie range, you have two options. You can be hungry the rest of the day, or you can go over your calories.
Or you can exercise more.
Yeah. So.
Does it make a dramatic difference if you were eating 1,400 calories, if they were healthy calories versus non-healthy?
It does. You know, it is calories in, calories out. But if you eat a bunch of unhealthy calories, it's not a whole lot of stuff to add up to, like, say, 1,400. Where if it's healthier stuff, it takes a lot of fruits and vegetables, lean meats to add up that same amount of calories, so you get more, you get filled up. A lot of times junk stuff, you eat it and you're not really satisfied, and then an hour later you're like, oh,
Where's
what's
more
more of that? Yeah.
But if you stayed within the 1,400 calories?
Calories are calories.
Calories
It
are
is,
calories.
it doesn't matter, like sugar calories aren't any harder to burn off than vegetable calories, or
It's calories, calories.
calories are calories, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all that it is. You know, now, that being said, if you can constantly eat garbage and somebody else eats the same amount of calories, if we cloned you, you had two of you sitting
Right.
there, one ate garbage, one ate healthy, and you both worked out, you both ate the same amount of calories, the one that ate healthier is going to look better than the one that ate the garbage. But there's been some studies on like a short-term weight loss standpoint. Eating junk, eating healthy, they still lost weight. But long-term from that, you know, I think they did like 16 weeks. Going longer than that, eventually that's probably not going to work. So,
It's a bad habit, just waiting to go bad.
yeah, you know, there's a lot of health issues that can,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
obviously, yeah.
that's
I was just
weight
wondering about
related,
whether if it came down to calories in, calories out, or if the calories,
The value of them.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I heard too that a lot of sugar breaks down to collagen in your skin.
Yeah.
And if you don't want your collagen to break down, yeah, I heard that a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
breaks
should
down
have that a long time
collagen.
ago.
That's why I'm like, where's that tape?
No, but I'm eating sugar now.
Well, I mean,
Okay, I
you know,
need
you
more
figure,
tools, I will not repay in a dessert, okay?
you don't want to be droopy, don't you? I never knew that. You know where I heard that from? Clinique. The
Yeah.
makeup place, they said, yeah, don't eat a lot of sugar because it will break your collagen down.
So no.
What do you do?
Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We'll help you with this, and you guys on track with everything.
Okay, so we should kind of wait and kind of think about this before we fill anything
Yeah.
out, and when we come back, like, in a day or so, or.
Yeah.
We'll work on this. Okay, so we should bring these back with us.
Yep, bring them back next time you're in.
Think it's tomorrow.
I'll probably have it up tomorrow.
Oh, up on the website?
Not necessarily on the website.
On the counter?